Hello there AOS fans, it's me Pete, inviting you to come inside and witness the fevered dreams of my tactics once more in the Shadespire realms. I've got another deck here, and this one is going to be Khorne. Robin and I are going to be playing a game using the Katophrane Relic rules, or Katophrane Artefact I think it might be called. Essentially you have an objective that goes in the middle of the board in no man's land, and if somebody has that objective, holds it, stands on it, in the end phase, just like one of the other objectives 1 to 5, you get 3 glory and instantly inspired. Pretty tasty stuff. I don't know what Robin's bringing, so I've had to try and create a deck that could take on all comers, which is going to be handy because I'm going to a tournament soon, which I'm really excited about. And so I've got to start getting used to building some balanced decks. Robin and I quite often know what the other person's bringing each time, and we can tailor our decks, which is good fun because it means sometimes we can use cards that you wouldn't otherwise pick. But it sometimes lacks a bit of the tactical nuances that you might want to bring to a generic all-comers deck. So anyway, I'm going to show you what I'm going to go with Khorne, try and explain my tactics to you, and you can let me know in the comments below how much nonsense I've spouted during these 10 or so minutes. So anyway, I'm going to start off with objectives. To start with, a nice easy one, I'm going with objectives 1 to 5. So, it may not be obvious to you, but I am going objectives heavy with my Khorne. Surprising, I know. I was surprised too. I wasn't really. So, objectives 1 to 5, they're a solid pick. I've also gone with Tactical Supremacy 1 and 2, and Tactical Supremacy 3 and 4. I figure if I can get hold of enough objectives, I can really double up the glory that I'm going to be picking up in this game. Now, these are all end phase glory, so that may rob me of any early wins on a glory front. My next card is Khorne Cares Not. Scoring an end phase if 5 or more fighters are out of action. Well, there's 5 of mine, so the worst case scenario when I get slaughtered, I'll score it from losing all of my guys. But I'm really hoping I can take out some of his as well. So the idea there will be, it doesn't matter who dies, Khorne's always happy, and I'll get 2 glory. So I'm happy too. My next card, Supremacy. That's a given in a Khorne objectives deck. 3 glory for 3 objectives, and if I've got a couple of those objectives in my hand at the same time, that could be 5, maybe even 6 glory if I've got a Supremacy one. Thank you very much. Conquest. Now this is my third end phase card. Score it if all of my surviving fighters are in my opponent's territory. 2 glory, and with the speed of my guys, especially in the end game where I might only have a couple left and they'll be inspired, may be able to get some really easy glory with that one by sprinting off at the last moment. It begins. Hopefully I'm going to kill some of his guys, and I'm pretty certain whatever he's bringing, some of mine are going to die regardless because I'm Khorne and they fall over in a stiff breeze. So in this case, if at least one fighter on either side's out of action, I'll get a glory for that. And Determined Defender. I'm going glory heavy, or I'm going objective heavy rather. So I might as well have one of my guys, probably one of the Chuckle brothers, Targ or Arnulf, sit on an objective in the backfield if I can, and pretty much just sit there on it. Get an extra glory. Thank you very much. So those are my objectives. As you can see, I'm going for the objectives. I'm going to try and get as many of them as I can, and I'm going to try and score as many of glory by staying away from whoever's on the other side as long as I can. However, there is a relic or an artifact to be had, and I do want to try and get hold of it. So in that front, I've got a few of my Ploy cards to try and help me out with that. So I'm going to run through this and I'll try and point this out as we go. I've got Sidestep. It's a winner. It's great for this kind of thing. Choose a friendly fighter and push him a hex. That could be really helpful if Robin thinks he's got nobody on the objective, and I can quickly step in at the last moment. Fortify. Gain +1 defense for all friendly fighters holding objectives. Well, I'm going to have a lot of my guys standing on objectives, so that will give me +1 defense. Insensate. If I'm coming up against Oryx or Stormcast, then they're going to do a lot of damage, and reducing that to just 1 for a round might be an absolute lifesaver for somebody like Sake or Garrick if I think they're in trouble. Sprint. My guys move fast, and if I need to get to the other side of the field to get up Supremacy or something like that, then this will help me do that easy. Confusion. Swap 2 guys round. Really will come in handy if Robin's sitting on the objective, and then I can just swap around on the last turn and he can't do anything about it. Healing Potion. My guys don't have as many wounds. I mean, Garrick has 4, Saik has 3. If one of them's injured and I can get the Healing Potion off and get 2 back, that'll be quite handy. Time Trap. With the new FAQ released by GW, Time Trap is now a much clearer card to use, and I think it might be handy to use in my hand to have a 1-2 combo of having somebody say it, come up and charge somebody, take them off of the objective, and then have somebody else come along and sit on it. Blood Offering. Choose friendly fire, they suffer a wound, but roll 2 extra attack dice with the next charge, or the first attack action, which obviously you can do with the charge. That's almost definitely going to go on Sayic, or possibly Garrick. They are my big hitters, and to get an extra 2 dice on top of what they roll, 4 dice is nothing to be sneezed at. Blood Rain. If I've got somebody sitting on the objective and Robin just wants them dead, then reducing their attacks from hammers, if it's orcs or stormcast, to swords will be incredibly handy. I don't think Robin's going to bring Khorne. I don't think he's going to bring Sepulchral Guard, but I just don't know. But I think this one, as it's effective against 50% of the opposition, and that 50% hit hard with hammers, it's a safe card to have if you want to protect yourself. And Distraction. Choose an enemy fighter and push them 1 hex. It'd be hilarious if I could get Distraction and Sidestep in the same turn. Get up to where Robin is right at the end, where he might be standing on the relic, and if I've got these I'm going to let him go and stand on the relic to start with, and in the last moment shift his guy out of the way and plonk mine on top for 3 glory. Thank you very much. So those are my ploys. I'll show you some of the upgrades I'm going to hopefully get along the way. So Great Fortitude, +1 wound, you can't go wrong with that. It'll almost definitely go on Sayic or Garrick. Maybe Karsus, depends on how things go and what Robin's brought to the game. Frenzy, roll an extra attack dice when the fighter makes a charge action. Almost definitely Sayic or Garrick. Blood Slick, +1 defense on Garrick, and if he gets that he's going to be sitting on the relic and he's going to be moving nowhere. Coordinated attack. When I do go on the offense, I want to try and gang up if I can on whoever Robin's bringing. So that's 2 dice, 2 swords, and 2 damage, and for every other person who's making an assist, or well actually it's not even an assist, for every other person who's adjacent to the target I get +1 dice. I've got 5 guys, I should be able to swamp someone, I hope. Maybe move a few people across with Distraction or Sidestep and really gang up on someone. Now back to my objective play, I've also taken the Dazzling Key and the Shadowed Key. So if I get an objective 2 or 4 early on, have someone sit there and get Determined Defender, maybe get Tactical Supremacy 1 and 2 or 3 and 4, or actually either one will do me. That's another 2 glory at the end. It'll just keep coming in as long as I just sit on objectives and don't get pummeled too much. Wicked Blade. This one's for Arnulf. Don't normally take ones for the Chuckle Brothers, but I do like this one. It's 3 dice, swords and 2 damage, but if you roll a crit it has Cleave. Now again, that's only useful against 50% of the warbands, orcs and stormcast, but it removes their 1/3 chance of saving. And for stormcast it removes their 1/3 chance of becoming inspired. Well, it reduces a 50-50 to a 1 in 6. It's almost a must. Great Strength, +1 damage. Again, that's probably going to go on Garrick or on Sayic, because the extra damage is going to turn their 3 damage weapons into 4 damage weapons, and that's enough to kill nearly anybody. I don't care who you bring to the table, 4 damage is going to see you off. Berserk Charge, 1 for Sayic and 1 I love. If you can keep Sayic back long enough until you can get Berserk Charge off and maybe enough people have died that he becomes inspired, you've got a really fast psychopath running around throwing out 3 damage, and with this card he'll hit on hammers or swords, which means he'll hit 2/3 of the time. Whirlwind of Death, +1 damage to all attack actions with a range of 1 or 2 on Karsus. Now it's nice to have +1 damage on his range 2 ability, which will take him to 3 damage and 3 swords. But also, if he's inspired, his Savage Whirl will hit all adjacent enemies, and that will mean he'll be doing 3 damage, 2 swords on all adjacent enemies. That's a winner in my book, especially if Robin brings Sepulchral Guard or Khorne. There's going to be lots of bodies lying around that I'll be able to try and hit. And if he's got someone a bit more elite, then the extra damage is always worthwhile. So those are my cards, and that's my tactic. I'm going to be going after objectives. I'm going to try and hang back until I can get some of my power-ups, as you should always do with Khorne. And I might actually not worry too much about the relic. I'm hoping that if Robin goes for the relic more, he might sacrifice some of his objectives to do so. Whereas if I concentrate more on my objectives and use that as a secondary, I might be able to sneak ahead with just generic glory earned, and then maybe get enough upgrades to then be able to push Robin around a bit more, depending on who he's brought to the field. If he's got Sepulchral Guard, I'm going to go in early because then I can hopefully keep him back. If he's got Khorne, that'll be interesting. We'll both be fast. I'm not sure if I'll go in early or I'll hang back to try and see what he's going to do. If he's got Oryx, I think he's going to have Oryx. He likes his Oryx. They're going to be tough to try and shift, but hopefully with my other Ploy cards to make him to enable me to sidestep and distract him, or maybe just confusion, swap us around, that'll help me steal it away. And if it's Stormcast, they might be the toughest ones to push off because they have a few abilities that prevent knockback. I think Angerad has one, which is quite nasty. But again, I can hopefully use my distraction or things like that to move them out of the way. So that's it. That's my tactic. We shall see whether the Mirrored City favours me. If you guys think there are any cards I should bring as a generic Khorne all-comers deck, or if you have any other cards in my deck that you think I should get rid of because frankly they suck, then do let us know in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you in the Mirrored City. Bye!